The topic I'm supposed to be talking on is collaborating and networking as women's rights advocates, down from one generation to the other. And in my little life as a young woman, I have discovered that it's good for us to be hopeful that gender equality will be achieved someday. But I have realized that it takes individual effort. It takes you as a woman refusing every form of gender biases, gender based discriminations, and all of that. It takes every single woman putting her feet on the ground, and every single man that believes that women and men are created by God, and they are created equally by God, to also support and ensure that women in their sphere, women in their circle, are protected and they get to their full potential. So that has been a personal reality for me. I've had to from time to time refuse discrimination as a woman. I've had to put my feet on the ground, first of all in my family and also outside of my family. And everybody around me have come to realize that no, the girl is as important as the boy. So the topic I'm supposed to be talking on is collaborating and networking as women's rights advocates. So as we celebrate this year's Women's Day, I want us to remember that our faith, which is the Christian faith, I'm happy that I'm talking to Christians, teaches us to uplift and empower one another, as we say in 1 Corinthians 12:22. Um, we recognize that the role that women play in shaping our communities, our churches, and our nation is indispensable. And as Christian youth in politics, we are called to be agents of change and to promote justice and equity for all. So, whatever we do as Christian youths, we have to remember that without justice and equity for all, we are not yet representing God. And when we are talking about justice and equity for all, we are talking about gender equality, we are talking about women's empowerment and all of that. So by fostering collaboration and networking among women leaders, activists and advocates, we can create a strong and supportive community that drives meaningful change. Together we can break down the barriers. The first two speakers have talked about the barrier to education, to loan. Women cannot own a property, women cannot buy their own property. I remember telling my dad that many years ago that I wanted to buy a land. I want him to help me so that I will not be duped and all of that. Then I was hearing all these stories of our money and all of that. So I told my dad to help me get a landed property. And I remember my dad said, Kilo fe fi le se obìnrin yẹn, and I remember telling him that again and again, do not ever have such conversation with me. And that brings me also back to women themselves putting their feet on the ground. And I eventually bought his own land, and he supervised the building from beginning to finish. So the barriers are real, the challenges, the biases, they are real. And therefore, together we can empower women and girls to reach their full potentials. We can work towards a future where every woman and girl has access to quality education, healthcare, and economic opportunity. And this is very important. Economic opportunities is very, very important. When women are not economically empowered, that is when they are exposed and they cannot take a stand. They cannot run away from an abusive relationship. As an NGO practitioner for 13 years, my organization is 13 years this year. I've had to intervene in series of cases of gender-based violence, and most times where the women are not economically empowered in any way, a big problem. The women will tell you, kò síbi tí mo fẹ́ lọ, kò sẹ́ni time mo ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀, ta ni mo ní, they have nothing, no job, no certificate, no skill, and that's why we have to ensure that girls around us are empowered. We are not saying empowerment is just important in case there is a problem, but it's a form of security. Being empowered gives you security. You are able to stand on your feet, if you are in an abusive relationship. So let us continue to lift up each other, support and empower one another, and work together towards a more inclusive and equitable future for all. We see Galatians 3:28. It reminds us that there is neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free, nor there male or female, for you are all one in Christ. So this is what the Bible teaches us. We are one in Christ. And the discrimination I've seen, apart from what they teach us on the pulpit, following God, knowing God one-on-one, I've seen that God is a God of equity, is a God of justice. So if anybody tries to equate injustice to God and say it is God that says women cannot teach in the church, it is God that says women should be at the back, that's not a right gospel. That's a lie. Because from Genesis to Revelation, if we see how God operates, we will realize that God is a God of justice. Take for example, during the time of, I think, was it Moses, where the two daughters of what's their name again? Their inheritance, they were denied of their inheritance, and they protested and said, no, it's not done. You cannot deny us because we are not male children. And they went to God, and what did God say? Go and give them their inheritance. So we see that from generation to generation, even from the Bible days, all the inequality, all the gender biases, they are not from God. When you study the book of Leviticus, Exodus, you see how God was mindful of every single group, including strangers, including what do we call them now? People who seek asylum. In fact, when I was reading, and the Bible said that those who have farm, they should harvest their crop for a number of years, and a particular year they should leave it for the poor, for the less privileged, for the strangers, and even when they harvest, they should not harvest everything. They should leave some particular part for the less privileged. That shows you that God is a God of justice, is a God of equity. And what is gender equality? Gender equality is social justice. When you hear women say I'm a feminist, when you hear men say I'm a feminist, what is feminism? Feminism is social justice for women. That's what feminism is about. Feminism is not saying we are fighting with men, we want to take over from the men. That's not what feminism is about. It's about social justice for women. And we will see from Genesis to Revelation that that's what God is. Those are the principles of God. Social justice, ensuring that everybody, is equally treated. When we see laws that the woman must be relegated, they are man-made laws. They are not laws that came directly from the mouth of God. And as Christians, as believers, these are things that we should carry in our subconsciousness. And I tell people, we keep having this conversation in year in and year out. The real solution will come when you and I, who are on this call, if we look at ourselves, we search ourselves. In my own dealing every day, do I treat men and women equally? Even my male and female children, do I give them the same level playing ground? Or do I, in the corner of my heart, love my male more than my female? Do I believe that my female will go and marry? Any man that still has such mentality in this age and time is only shooting himself in the leg. Research has shown it, that when you empower your girl child, that girl child will take care of you more at old age, even more than the male children. All of us, especially for those of us on this call who have had grown-up children, even the ones that are growing in the house, you will see which one is more concerned about your health, which one is more, checking up on you. It is the way God has created women, to care, to love, to support. So if you now say your own will end up in a kitchen of one man, that's you are shooting yourself in the leg. Somebody talked about Ngozi in Igbo land, for example, for that matter. It shows that a father empowered a daughter, and whose name is ringing bell. Everybody is praising the father, celebrating the husband. So if you now say no, you will not empower your own girl child, you're only digging your own grave for the future. That's the reality. Because the society that we are is a society that is evolving. And if you decide not to empower your girl child, you are the only one that is going to be left behind. We would have left you behind. So I want us to talk about the ABCs of collaborating and networking as activists. Number one, we need to amplify each other's voices. Support and amplify the work and voices of your fellow women activists, especially those from marginalized community. Each time we come together and talk about women's empowerment, women's emancipation, feminism, and all that, there is an adage we keep hearing. Women are their own worst enemies. Women don't support each other. Women, it's a lie. It's a lie. As women don't support women, men also don't support men when it comes to competition. So it's a lie, and women should stop buying that slogan that women are their own worst enemy. That's not true. Men assassinate themselves when it comes to politics. They kill themselves. But when it comes to women, they say they are not supporting each other, blah blah blah. So the fact that, let's look at what is happening in Nigerians political scene, for example. We can see what is happening to Natasha in the Senate, and some people have come to say maybe her attitude is not good, that's why. But if it were to be a man, we will not say maybe his attitude is not good. They say nobody is fighting for her. Even the wife of the president has come out to say this, has come out to say that. So we just see, and I've also observed that a major challenge we have is that from generation to generation, we keep coming up with slogans, with words, with things that deliberately relegate women. So recently I was thinking about this slogan that they say, Obìnrin àtẹ̀yìntọ̀, Obìnrin àtẹ̀yìntọ̀, lásán lásán. And when you look at that, so many people have used such words and say Obìnrin àtẹ̀yìntọ̀. And one day I entered the toilet and I realized that as a woman, even though I'm a woman, I hardly bend down to wee. I stand up to wee. That has always been my own lifestyle as a child, and I don't know why. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. But I realized that if all of us want to poo-poo, we bend down and kneel down poo-poo. And so I don't know why when the man say Obìnrin àtẹ̀yìntọ̀, I don't know why we don't also tell the men back, Ọkùnrin àtẹ̀yìn yàgbẹ́ lásán lásán. How a woman we becomes something that you bring to the table when important discussions are happening. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. And these are things that have been happening from generation to generation. But it's time for women to organize ourselves, because if we have been organized more than this, to sit down, even look at those things that have been used to bring us down, we realize that they have no basis. They have no basis at all. So we need to amplify each other's voices, support each other. We need to build trust and relationship. I'm moving to the B. We need to foster genuine relationship built on trust, respect, and open communication to create a strong foundation for collaboration. So, for example, another woman is carrying out an activity, and you got a wind of it, and you just see it. This is something that will benefit other women. You can share it. You can share the flyers on a platform where you know that there are women who will benefit from that program, instead of saying it's not my program, I'm not going to share. So we need to do more of collaborating. We also need to celebrate our diversity and inclusion. We need to embrace and celebrate the diversity of women's experience and perspectives. So our experiences in life are different. You heard the last speaker. You heard our experience. Mine is a bit different from ours. Others may be completely different from us. But we need to celebrate. And another thing we also need to do is we need to support each other's experience. What do I mean? I've had situations where I need to talk to an older woman. Maybe, okay, I'm going through this with child rearing, and the next thing you hear is, Kini, Omo Itawati Lakojani. Àwa ti ṣe ọmọ mẹ́jọ àdẹ̀kú, two people can go through the same experience, but how it affects the two of them will be different. So we need to stop dismissing, yes, that's the word, dismissing women's struggle, and support them. I've heard that àwọn ìyá wa tó bí mẹ́wàá ńkọ́, tó bí 20 tí yóò pè dẹ̀ sí nǹkan kan tó ṣe. These are things that we should, in our personal lives, in our personal space, we should discontinue. Number three, which is the D, we should develop collective goals and strategies for us to work together, especially in politics. This is Christians in politics. As women, as young women, as older women who are in politics, there is no time to work together to build a collective goal and strategy than now. Because we see the fact that people are educated, the fact that there is exposure, we can see that people can be exposed, like the former speaker spoke about her father. People can be exposed and still not internalize the fact that women's rights are men's rights, women's rights are human rights. People can live and grow up in America and grow up anywhere in any Western world and still believe that women should be subjugated. That's why it's very important for us as women to organize ourselves as women advocates. Either you are a male, or you are a he or a she, or you are a she for E, to come together. Also, empower. That I'm moving to E now because I'm trying to rush because of the time. Empower and support each other. We need to provide emotional support. Women go through things differently. We need to provide emotional support, resources, and opportunities to empower fellow women activists to take on leadership roles and drive a change, particularly in politics. A woman tells you, I'm thinking that I want to join politics, like, one of the ashewo. There are stereotypes that keeps women away from politics. And one of it is the perspective and the way women who are in politics are perceived. They are perceived to be wayward. They are perceived to be promiscuous. They are perceived to be women who are not submissive to their husbands and all of that. So these are narratives that we need to begin to dismantle as actors of accountability. We need to encourage transparency and accountability amongst women's groups. We need to tell ourselves, if you are going there as a woman, let us set the record straight. Let us promote accountability. Let them see the difference when a woman is there. We need to also grow and learn together. Engage in continuous learning. As a woman, you cannot say that because you have a master's degree, then you will not further learn. And that's one of the problems we have. We don't increase our knowledge. We don't read books. We don't read biographies of women in politics, women that have gone ahead of us. What were their pitfalls? What were their challenges? What are the lessons that we can learn, from these women? We need to broaden. We need to grow and learn. Also, we need to harness the power of technology. This is the era of technology. We cannot say that some women up to now, they cannot even use WhatsApp. They cannot use all these digital tools. We need to step up our game as women. We need to learn to leverage on technology and social media to facilitate collaboration and mobilize support. You see what is happening now. People are already creating change.org petition. I've signed one actually today, petitioning the Senate that they need to revisit that, because you are not just disenfranchising a woman for 6 months. You are disenfranchising an entire senatorial district, senatorial districts for the 6 months. So this is possible through technology. I do not even know the organization that started that change.org, but I read what they wrote and I feel okay with it, and I put my own signature to it. Also, moving to I, we need to identify and address power imbalances, recognize and address power imbalances and inequalities within collaborations to ensure that all voices are heard and valued. J, let's join forces with other movements, collaborate with other social justice movements to build a stronger, more inclusive. And I'm going to encourage us as Christian in politics. We should not say, oh, no, we are Christian. We are not going to mingle with them in politics. We are not going to, join them. We are going to do our own thing because the Bible says that bad company corrupt good manner and all of that. So we are not going to, you understand what I'm trying to say. We are not going to join them. We are not going. We need to broaden our knowledge. We need to leverage on other people's strengths. Also, we need to mobilize resources and support. This is very, very important. There is no how anybody can stride, especially as a woman in politics. We know that our politics is money driven. Our politics in Nigeria today, if you want to contest for a local government chairman lason, you must have gbemu in your account. It's unfortunate, but
That's a fact.
that's where we are. So as a result, we need to mobilize resources and support, for women especially who are interested in politics. Also, we need to nurture a culture of solidarity, foster a culture of solidarity, mutual respect and empathy to create a strong and resilient movement. We need to organize and mobilize. I've talked about that. We need to promote women's leadership. This is something we can do from our own home. In our family, a girl that you always shout down, "Gbenu song, àwọn ọkùnrin sọ̀rọ̀, shut up, where men are talking." Your brother is like your father. I've heard my dad say that to me. My junior brother is my father if he is not in the picture. My own junior brother, excuse you, the same one I'm paying his school fees now. So it's really important that from the home, because once we talk about gender equality, we always think, is that thing that happen within the society, but it starts from the home, like the first speaker said, and it is only that platform, which is the home, that we can correct it. If our boys are trained that, look, and you and your sister, you are as important, you are no more important than your sister is not more important than you. You are equal. God created you equal to achieve your full potential, and you can become anything as a male child, the same thing as a female child. You can become anything and everything that God has ordained you to become. All you need to do is to build capacity, know your God as a Christian, love God, serve your God. When you read the Bible, it's really sad. If you read the story of Mary, for example, we never saw them writing their stories by themselves. Stand upon your watch and see. But when it comes to women, their stories were even written for them. So women's contributions, they were not properly documented and recognized from this. So bridging this intergenerational gap, we also increase empowerment of women, because you can there is an adage that says experience is the best teacher. Sometimes it's better for you not to go and experience it. Learn from those who have gone ahead of you. There is an adage that says the fastest way to light a candle is to light on somebody who already has his own lit, instead of you looking for matches all around. So these are things we need to do, bridging the intergenerational gap between women activists and feminists. Also, zero tolerance for discrimination, maintain zero tolerance as an individual. And I'm making this as a call to everyone on this call. Let us maintain zero tolerance for discrimination everywhere we find ourselves, even in church. When we see women being discriminated in church, let us speak up against it, because it happens a lot in church. Also, finally, on my zero tolerance. Okay, yes, zero tolerance for discrimination. That's my last one. So by following this ABC of collaboration and networking, I believe that women activists, Christians in politics, youth led organization, all of us can together join hands to ensure that women are empowered, protected, and preserved in our society. On this note, I want to say thank you very much for having me, and over.
Wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your contribution so far. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Wow. So Um, to the house now. Do we have any question for her, please, before we wrap up the session? Any question, please?
I think I can
Okay,
see a hand raised. Somebody raised hand.
it's a mistake. I think maybe he made mistake there.
Fakwade Oluwatoyi Eunice. A hand is raised.
Okay. Fakwade, do you have any question for us or for the speakers? Okay, in the absence of that, we should let me quickly use the opportunity to appreciate our guest speaker. I know that they are fully loaded to fed us with what we really need, but because of our time, we are unable to get what they have for us all. But we hope some other times we invite them. I believe they will honor our invitation. So I will appreciate our guest speakers for their positive contributions, your enlightenment. You really made our day. I must applaud you for that. You made our day. God will continue to bless you, man. CYP would love to always have you around based on your experiences. CYP will be happy to have you in our state platforms like Ekiti State platform. I believe Ekiti State coordinator should take note of that. So you need to be part of us so that we can be able to work together and to seek advices where need be. So we love to meet you time to time for advice to move further. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you. So it is on this note we are bringing the session. Since there is no question, then we need to wrap up the session so that we can be able to go and relax. Or do we still have any question?
My noble moderator, thank you very much. A lot have been said. I just want to impute something. We
All right.
cannot have a discussion like this without hearing from our national president. As well to take the final call to action. We have the agenda. I believe it has been shared with your humble self. So maybe you can review the agenda properly. So without taking so much time, since we are really far beyond schedule, and we don't want to exceed 6 p.m. 6 p.m. at most. Let us hear one or two things, admonition or word of encouragement, shout out from our national president. Ladies and gentlemen, people, I welcome on board our national president, Christian Youth in Politics, the person of Ambassador Kola Wole Princess. Ambassador Kola Wole Princess.
You're welcome, man.
All right, thank you, everyone. I want to appreciate all the guest speakers. In fact, I wasn't expecting this much. Having all the honorable women in the house and all those who are on their own are able to connect with us this evening. I think it's a thing of celebration. It means that we love ourselves and we are getting better, realizing the blessing God has bestowed upon us as a woman. We actually, I'm so proud, and I want to appreciate all the speakers from the first person to the last person. This works as something that we've learned a lot from. It's an eye opener for everyone. But I need to let us know, especially for the men in our midst, we appreciate you guys. um, you are our king. You have been empowered to be the lords of of every homes, and we are not taking that for granted. But we're just trying to let you know that God has given us also some power, and has also created us as special as we are. Else, we want every support needed from every home in the society, Um, Everywhere we see women, we need to give unrelenting support to us. We're not taking the men for granted, and we're not saying that we want to take the power from them. Definitely, we are just asking for equity. We want to be recognized. We want to be respected as much as necessary. And then we want our voice to be heard so that we can be better in the society. Unfortunately, in this 21st century, a lot of things are happening, and of which we can see. To me, I was speaking with someone this afternoon, and I was like, things have actually taken the other way around. That's turned to the women. Women are now the backbone. Women, they said without a woman, there's no man. But unfortunately, there is no proverb of such for a woman. It means that behind a woman is a woman. So that is a very great strength. Meaning, a woman can do millions of things at the same time. God is a wonderful God. We are not the one that has placed that. If a woman, we may have that little strength, we may have seven bone, whatever, and the men may have more than us. But unfortunately, the woman is taking over. That is just the reality of the moment, and we are not the cause of it, but we are just walking through it. Men are now relenting. They're giving a lot of the responsibility to women nowadays in our society. Women are taking over in so many things. We are not. It's not that we're fighting our way in, but then this is just the reality we are all meeting. We're walking through. But in the course of this, all we want is we want peace. We want a loving society. We want to also give our strength. We want to give our support. We want to be recognized politically in the church, in everywhere we are, even at home. Because most home now, women are the later to take care of the old age parents. If we look at several homes nowadays, men are realizing that, and now they are becoming very close. The 2020 from 20th century, you realize that men are now becoming so close to their daughters, to their girl's child, because it is unfortunate that once men go, they don't even, some of them don't look back. It is only those who make their female to be so loving, to be very close, that are enjoying old age nowadays. So you cannot imagine what would have happened if such love were not given. A lot of women has been put in a very sorrowful mode to date. Some parents are regretting deeply. Some ladies have they've been taken to they're dead alive. So many things are happening, and it's still happening in our society. I watched a video of a 12-year girl in the north. I think that's why also beaten because she was forced to marriage, and she went back home to go and pick her book back to school, and about 10 men on her, beating her with different stroke. It is still happening. We need to defend our feminists. We need to defend. We need to speak up. We need to stand up. We need to know that we can't do so much nowadays without the women. That's the truth. We have the foresight. We have everything it takes to open any door we want to open. We are not saying you should move. We are only saying give us a chance, give us the opportunity to do something, to make it better, to repair the spoiled society. And that is where we are right now. I wouldn't want to take much of our time because we want to work with time. But I want to appreciate the moderator, want to appreciate the state coordinator, we appreciate Uma, we appreciate all the speakers. We are so happy to have these generous people in our midst, in CYP as a whole. We would love to have you. We would love to invite you more. We would love to have even a round table with you some days so that we can talk on how to make our world a better place. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, everyone.